this major transition that's taking place from industrial to information is bringing about this major change as far as employment is concerned, as far as the future is concerned. Granted, at one time in the industrial society, it was important to gather people in to a central location in order to work the assembly lines, in order to do the manufacturing process at a central location. In other words, you wouldn't have various people living at their homes doing minor parts to put together the Ford. You had to be in a central location. That was the industrial society. What we have to realize is that that society no longer exists in the US of A like it used to. Because you can get that type of work we might want to call rote work. You put the square peg in the square hole. You put the round peg in the round hole. Well, if you got common sense, chances are you can do that. And this country is no longer in a situation where it can afford to pay somebody a tremendous amount of money to do that, when in fact companies see they can go to other countries and get the same work done, and sometimes maybe even better. So we have to realize we're in a state of fluctuation, state of change to a different type of society. This society, the information society that's gradually taking over, allows people to work at home. Why? Because of computerization, because of telecommunication. You don't have to get on the road and drive to the factory. You can do your work at home and generate it over the lines of a microwave to another location. Like I said, maybe 10 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago, I could not have done this. I would have had to have a mainframe system to keep this data, track of this data. But as long as you have a personal system at home that you can do word processing, database management, and or spreadsheets, then you can keep track of what we're doing. And we simply can communicate by mail or what have you as to what you found. That's why you got to know how to write at least in some competent manner, conveying what you've discovered. And you got to be able to read to know what we're going to tell you and what to do with it. You got to be able to add in terms of hours, in terms of money. How was the company affected financially? The 15 hours they lost on March 5th, 1991 and 92. What did it do that day? Did it have their entire system down? What to do? What signs should we look for? That's the purpose of computer-trained analysis. So if we see that happening, the person has that account, we can say, look, by virtue of the fact of working with 17 other grocery stores, supermarkets, when this happens, situation A happens with situation B, we can expect result C. So maybe you better tell them to consider doing this and that, as opposed to what they normally do. Computer-trained analysis is viable. No country, no society today can stay competitive, let alone survive. Shall I say, can survive, let alone compete, without the use of computers. Whether it's a necessary evil, that's neither here nor there. And what I'm saying is that we try to take that intimidation factor out of computerization. If you follow this format, and you can read and write and do basic math, you can keep up with what's going on. Every computer is composed of parts. The person who knows how those parts work will probably be more proficient than anyone else, as proficient as people who put them together. So start with the basics. That's like anything you do. Start with A, B, C here. And if you got to the point where you felt like you wanted to do something more intricate, by all means do so. But I think we've given you a good base to do it.
What must I remember about what you said after 4 or 5 or 6 days or 2 weeks? What must I remember if I forget virtually everything else? What must I remember for you to feel that you at least put the right seed, the right kernel, and the right nugget in my head?
It's a very good question. The one word.
It's the only one that counts.
The one word that's important in all of this is support. Support. If you don't know the answer to a question, don't give a false answer, or an erroneous answer. Just ask for time to get the right answer. Support. That's why I'm saying I believe there was a gap in information in mine just trying to convey this information to the public. In other words, you would write me and I would send you the manual and you should be able to sit down, and I would think you could sit down and start the process. But it was important, I discovered, for sport. As long as I ran those ads, I was there just about 12 hours out of the day. Whenever the phone rang, it wasn't an answering machine, it was me. It was I who answered the phone to answer the questions. Support is vital. So this time, what's going to be different is that we're not going to tell you to try to do the entire procedure. Work in the steps. That's why we do all the detail work, the technical work. All you have to be able to do is go out and say, look, I think I can save your company money. And this is what you do in your company. And send these forms back to me or to this address. And we take it from there. And we give you a report that you give to the company. Support is the key. Remember, you got support. And I have access to quite a bit of information. The seminar that I'm talking about might cost an individual, based on what we discussed initially, somewhere around $250. Whereas if you got the same type of material, it would cost you somewhere around $2,200 or better. And this is based on information with the company out of Connecticut. That's the one important word, support.
Okay, support is
Communication.
Support is crucial, but only after I have heard you disappeared for a while and decided to follow up. I'm not going to be concerned about support until after you've said some other things that are stuck in my mind and made me want to take the next step. What do I have to know after I listen to you talk for me to want to take the first step? What do I have to know in a very small, not a big nutshell, but in a small nutshell? What do I have to remember that you said during this seminar? Because your assumption here is that you already said that, and I'm already hooked up to this as a very feasible thing for me to do. Then I've got technical questions about how do I do this and how do I do that.
That's a very good question. That's why I've geared this to people who achieved a 4-year degree and who are presently unemployed or can't seem to find comparable employment, something commensurate to what they've expended in order to get this information.
Their idea is suitable.
Okay. So my question to them, so what are you going to do? Are you going to just sit back and not do anything? Are you going to resolve yourself to the fact that the economy is bad and you have to live off $4.25 an hour? Or would you at least attempt to do something that's, one, going to give you control of your destiny, probably more so than anything else, working for yourself, at the same time working with other people? The factor that makes companies successful is people, our person, our consumer. That is the bottom line factor. You got a good idea. You share that idea. The more people you can share it with, the more work that can be done. The more energy you can have expended toward doing it. The more access to tools that can be used by people in order to do it. The more time, in other words, the time that you may have had as an individual is geometrically accrued. More time is applied. So it's not necessarily the product, but it's the people who can promote the product. That's why I knew at some point I would have to. It's not just my going around espousing this product. It's not my telling one company what they can lose or save. Now I know it's important for me to get to people to promote the product. That's why I need to go the seminar route. Because once we have as many people as I hope that we can get, the more information we can accrue from various parts of the U.S. The more information we have, the more accurate our results will be. 10 years down the line, like I said, we could possibly tell a customer, even if he's in the thinking mode of a certain system to do certain types of work, what to look out for. Everybody's trying to sell their system. But there's never been to this degree, and again, this is unprecedented. Nobody has applied this process. It's without a doubt that until settlement was made, or agreement was made with IBM, nobody had done it before. Granted, some of the things that IBM had been doing in the past, other companies applied the same procedure. I worked with those companies for a while. And this market concept, this field, called the sixth field, is original. Can be safely documented, giving you access to a market that nobody else. Like I said, there might be people who might be trying to apply this in various areas I've been in. I don't worry about that. If it crops up to the point that it's visible, I'm going to try to find out where it came from. And money that they're making, chances are, will be a portion of the money I'm going to get. With the use of good legal advisors. It's called infringement in many instances. Or theft of patent, whatever you want to call it. Everything that I've done, I've carefully documented it. I've left it in very strategic places. I've kept certain people informed. We're at the point where you don't even have to have a computer system. All you have to do is present the concept and send the data recovery pages to us. We take it from there. Until such time that you decided you wanted to get a computer system. It doesn't make any difference as to what type of software you want to use. Lotus, WordPerfect, whatever. Word processing, Lotus for spreadsheets or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. As long as in the format that we use is so basic, it's just a matter of gleaning the information from the format and applying it to your system. If we can understand it, you got no problem. Well, you got no problem at all. If we can't understand it, we're simply trying to say, well, what we are not getting. We're looking for certain flags in the information that we're getting that will let us know when a computer system is defective. Possibly if a new system is in fact a used system. By the way, it's breaking down. By a number of times, certain parts have to be changed, switched, or whatever. And as long as we can get the information back on the format that we're using, we can flag it. So I don't want people to go out and have to feel like they have to get a certain type of compatible system, despite the fact that Apple and, say for example, IBM are now trying to work on a compatible basis. We don't want to have to recommend certain local area networks and LAN systems, certain workstations. That's not necessary. Follow the format that we have, which is a very basic format, and we can glean what we need. Every computer company is idiosyncratic. They're not going to let you know all the details of their business, all the nuts and bolts as to how it works. The guy said, well, I've read some of IBM's technical manuals, and they're either some of the most complex or written for some of the, by some of the dumbest SOBs you can think of. Well, the purpose there is to keep control of their information. If they simplified it to the point that you understood it every time they gave out a manual, then you wouldn't need them anymore. They write themselves into your business. through the contract and through the information you get. You're not going to get very far without one of their analysts coming in and telling you, attach point A to point B. If it were that simple, they would lose millions of dollars, billions of dollars. So the answer could be in one sentence on the page in that entire section, but surrounded by all kinds of idiosyncratic, superfluous, baffled, just to make you confused and make you have to call them and say, well, would you come over here and fix my computer? That's the norm of technical manuals written by certain companies. You write it for you to understand, not necessarily for the customer to, well, to a degree. To a degree. So what I'm saying is that we try to dispense with a lot of that. And what it says is that no matter who the vendor is, who the computer company is, they have to work it according to the format we leave with the company. The company is in charge. And many companies don't realize that. They are in charge of their company, not the computer vendor. They simply tell the computer vendor, look, this is the form. If you touch the system, fill it out, please. This concept puts the company in charge of the vendor. So no matter how idiosyncratic they want to be in the information that they're passing back and forth, among their internal operation, this simplifies it. And we put it down in black and white and give it to the company owner, manager, what have you, and say, look, now you can tell the computer vendor, I lost this much time as a result of this happening, and it should not have happened because you should have serviced the computer system back at this time according to my contract, and I paid $10,000 for the contract for that to happen, and you didn't live up to the contract, and consequently, this is what I lost, and I want you to consider reimbursement.